Jimmy Devellano. Jimmy, congratulations, my friend.
Well, thank you, Frank. Thank you very much.
Do you have a favorite song out of all of these?
Well, not really. We've had a couple over the years, I guess, but I can't remember the names of them either.
Yeah, and nor do I, quite honestly. We kid Dana about that, but I don't remember either.
Sure.
They all run together, and they're all fun when you win, pal.
Well, you're not kidding, Frank. It's so hard to win, as you know. 4 grueling rounds, and it's a very, very difficult championship to win. I think maybe the hardest in Major League sports.
Very well may be, because the puck bounces in funny ways. There are so many other factors that go into it.
Bad referee.
Oh, is that the truth? Jimmy, I'm going to tell you, if you had seen that game last night go into overtime or somehow lost it because of the lack of a call on that tripping of Datsuk at center ice when he's 2 strides from firing the puck into an empty net and gets tripped from behind.
Yeah.
And they don't call it for whatever reason. It was terrible.
And then they call a lot of little minor stuff, and put you down. I feel I can say it now, Frank. We won the Stanley Cup. I thought the officiating was lousy.
Well, you won despite it, really.
Yeah, we sure did. Sure did.
I don't know what you do about it except emphasize it to Gary Bettman, and because supposedly you got the best referees and linesmen out there. Yeah.
Well, what happened, Frank, quite frankly, was when we doubled the referees from 1 to 2. I think it really now has created a problem. I think the game was better officiated with 1. Now you have 2 referees, and they're both looking for something to do, and you get too many nothing penalties.
Well, indeed, and in the end, as we said, you overcame all of that, and you can have the joy of victory, because it looked like it was all going to slip away after that last-minute loss in Game 5.
Yeah, well, it very well could, and certainly we feared that. It's certainly not something that any of us would have liked to have happened, but, we have a tremendous hockey team with great players, Frank, and, they were able to find a way, and so it's just a wonderful moment for this team, Frank.
Indeed. Jimmy D., give us now a look inside how you determine whether a player who you see over in Europe against different kinds of competition, and these players from Europe now are such a big part of your team and the NHL, how do you figure out whether his talent is going to translate to this level for you?
Well, I think the first thing we've always tried to do, Frank, from the time I got here was we really believed in talent, in high-skilled players, and that started, as you know, Frank, back with our very first draft with Steve Yzerman. We really tried to draft talented players, and then, if they have some grit and some tenacity, that's an extra bonus. But generally, we try to draft talent and then hope to bring them along properly so that they can learn to what it takes to win and add a little grittiness to their game. But really, Frank, the secret is getting talented players that can handle the puck, shoot the puck, that type of skill level.
Jimmy, how could a keen assessor of talent like you be wrong for 6 rounds on Henrik Zetterberg?
Well, actually, that we have a terrific scout in Europe by the name of Håkan Andersson, who really has been very, very responsible for people like Henrik Zetterberg and Datsuk coming so late. It's really hard to know. Sometimes, Frank, when you're drafting 18-year-old kids, they're not close to being ready, and so you get a little bit lucky, and we'd be the first step to say on a number of occasions we've gotten a little bit lucky. taking a chance on some kids out of Europe in later rounds that certainly develop. But when you look at a Zetterberg and a Datsuk, Frank, people forget now that these players they've been developing with the Red Wings over 6 years now. Don't you remember just even a year and a half ago, people outwardly said, I don't know if you can win with Datsuk. I don't know if you can win in the playoffs with Zetterberg. I remember that.
Datsuk always had the reputation he was going to disappear at playoff time.
That's right. So, it's a process. You have to have a lot of patience. You have to believe in these kids, and you hope that they develop the type of tenacity and grittiness that they need. And that has happened with both Datsuk and Zetterberg as each playoff has gone along. They've learned what it takes.
And once you get that instilled within the organization, the other young players below them now begin to feed off that and learn from it.
Well, there's no question. That's a good example. A young Darren Helm, 21 years old. You see, he's been around our environment. He sees how hard it is, how hard you have to play, and so he, for instance, is a young man that's starting to learn and feed off of that.
He's going to be a good player, isn't he, Jimmy?
Yes, he can really skate.
Yeah.
I think down the road, Chris Draper would be the first one to tell you that Darren Helm will probably be heir apparent to Chris Draper.
How do you account for the transformation of Chris Osgood from what amounted to a guy who always seemed to be comfortable in the backup role to one who now talks about inside, I always had that fire, I knew I was a leader, I knew I could do it, and he proved it with his performance, replacing Dominik Hasek in the playoffs and backstopping you to the Cup? Well,
we've always liked Chris Osgood. Kenny Holland and I both have always liked Chris. We probably wouldn't have let him go had we not had an opportunity in 2002 to pick up the best goalie in the world at that time, Dominik Hasek. But, you saw that we had no problem bringing Osgood back, and he's always been a good goaltender, Frank, but again, just as we talked about Datsuk and Zetterberg developing, having patience over time, you could say that the Red Wings have been the same way with Chris Osgood. Now he's 35 years old. He's been through all of these things. He has experience and is really now a world-class goaltender.
There are so many great stories on this team.
Sure.
And, Darren McCarty winning another cup. I mean,
yeah.
He was out of hockey. He's on the scrap heap, Jimmy. And
yeah, he sure was.
Yeah.
He sure was. And but like with Darren, here's what happened, Frank. He went to Double-A hockey. Chris Draper owns a piece of the Flint team up in a Double-A league up in Flint, Michigan.
Right.
And Darren went there to play, to get into shape and to see if he could, crack it. This was Double-A hockey, and played about 10 games there, and then we went and watched him play, and then we brought him up to Grand Rapids, Triple-A hockey, our number one farm team, and he played a number of games there and was okay there. So when we got some injuries, Mike Babcock didn't hesitate to bring him up and put him in and see how he would do. And as a grinding fourth line guy with some experience, he was very helpful in many situations.
It's just great stuff. And
Sure.
but so many wonderful tales. Yeah, there's one for every player, it seems. Whether you're talking about Dan Cleary, the first Newfie to win a cup,
Sure.
or Steve Eisenman in the front office with you now enjoying the cup in another way. And
Yeah, that's right.
it's just it's been remarkable. Tomorrow's the parade. I know you were in planning sessions with the Illiches not all that very long ago. Can you share anything new with us? Will the mayor be there? I hear the governor's not coming down.
Is that right?
Yeah, that's what I heard. It's too bad.
Yeah. I'm not really sure, Frank. I know it starts at 11 o'clock up by Comerica Park and the Fox Theater, and they're hustling right now to get everything kind of in order. And then, of course, we have parties and a whole host of things we've got to do now here in this next week to celebrate this terrific championship.
Life's tough. Life's tough now, isn't it?
Yeah. We'll try to enjoy the week, Frank, for sure.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. You gave cover to your sister team, the Detroit Tigers. Here, I know that baseball is second in line, very close behind hockey in your heart, and we got to figure out what to do with this baseball team now, Jimmy.
Yeah, gee, it's I feel very, very bad. I know that everybody's expectations were very, very high. And it's just a shame that we've had such a struggle in really getting everything together. The pitching, the hitting with men on base. It's just been really tough, and it's really hard to put your finger on it. It's always hard, Frank, as you know, when you think you've built a pretty good club, and then you don't quite meet expectations, but. I have great faith in Dave Dombrowski and Jim Leland, and I know they're doing their very, very best to try to, get the ball team somehow on track, and let's have a respectable season here.
Yeah, well, it's a long season too, so
yes,
there's plenty of time left. And
yes, that's right. The crowds have been terrific, Frank, as you know. The Tigers will set an all-time attendance record this summer, and so it's a terrific time in that regard for the team. And as I say, I just hope they can kind of get this thing together a little bit and do a little bit more winning for sure.
Well, I'll tell you this: the summer watching baseball for you is going to be a lot more fun now that you have this self-satisfaction of winning the Cup again, Jimmy Devellano. And
well, we'll enjoy it, and we'll be there rooting for the Tigers. And
do you ever allow? Let me ask you this personally: you're a very humble man, but do you ever allow yourself to sort of think about how you are going to be ranked among the great architects of franchises through hockey history? This is 4 Cups now, Jimmy, and this is legendary stuff for a man who's been involved in player procurement and development like you have, and there aren't many who can claim that many rings.
Well, I appreciate that, Frank, and of course, I also had 3 with the New York Islanders, so and that's what got me the job here in Detroit. If you recall, 26 years ago when Mike and Mary Nillich bought the team, I had just finished with the New York Islanders as their assistant general manager, and we just won 3 consecutive Stanley Cups. And I think what I think mostly of, Frank, now I hearken back to the early days of the Red Wings and how poor the team was, when I arrived, the lack of people in the building, the lack of interest in the team. It had such a bad 15 years, and it really, Frank, took about 5 years for us to try to get the team just even respectable. And I think sometimes the lack of patience and on the part of a lot of people in the media, and a lot of criticism that we took, and I can't help but think of those things, and I kind of get a little good feeling that we all got it turned around. It just took a lot longer than we had hoped it would.
Well, it's odd how things work out in life, and they sure have for the Red Wings since your arrival. And
well,
Jimmy D, I mean, you'll go down in history as one of the legendary managers in all of sports for what you've done here in Detroit.
Well, Frank, that's very nice of you, and I really, really do appreciate those kind words.
You take care. Thanks for being with us this morning, and have a lot of fun in that parade tomorrow, Jimmy.
Okay, thanks very much, Frank.
All right,
Thank you now.
See you soon, my friend.
Okay, my friend.
Jimmy Devellano from the Red Wings, the real architect of the franchise over these last 2.5 decades. Well, parade starts at 11 tomorrow. We'll no doubt be off the air early to tune in and enjoy it here on WJR. Stay tuned for more details on all of that. Thank you for joining us today on the program, The Frank Beckmann Show, which is with you 9 to 11:30 every day. We got a wonderful staff that works so hard and scrambles to put things together and gets you the great guests you love to hear like this morning, puts the music all together, and even puts together Dana's playlist for her. You could probably hear some of this on our iPod later on today. Our engineer, the fabulous Anna Bartolotta. Our producers are Kevin Collard and Shelley Dearda, and I'm Frank. Later.